You're more powerful than you think. Have you ever felt that quiet weight inside your mind, that whisper that says, "You're not good enough"? That voice that shows up when you're about to try something new, something bigger, something that actually matters? It doesn't scream. It doesn't fight you openly. It just sits there, quietly convincing you to stop before you even begin. And over time, without realizing it, you start believing it. You start shrinking your dreams, lowering your expectations, accepting less than what your soul once dared to imagine. But what if that voice is lying to you? What if the limits you feel aren't real? What if the only thing standing between you and the life you want is a belief you never questioned? Think about that for a second. How many times have you looked at something you truly wanted and felt that mix of excitement and fear? That moment when your heart says, "Go," but your mind says, "You can't"? You ask yourself questions that feel so real, so convincing. Am I capable? Do I deserve this? What if I fail? And just like that, you stop. Not because you couldn't do it, but because you convinced yourself you shouldn't even try. Now let me ask you something deeper. How many dreams have you quietly buried because of fear? How many times did you tell yourself you weren't ready, not talented enough, not lucky enough? And what if none of that was ever true? What if the only thing that needed to change was the way you see yourself? Because here's the truth most people never realize. Your potential is not something small or limited. It's vast. It's powerful. It's unexplored. Inside of you, right now, there are abilities, ideas, strengths, and possibilities that haven't even been touched yet. But they remain hidden, not because they don't exist, but because you haven't allowed them to come alive. And why? Because of fear. Because of doubt. Because of that same voice that tells you to stay where it's safe. But let me tell you something. Nothing extraordinary has ever been created inside comfort. Growth doesn't happen when everything is easy. It happens when you decide to move forward, even when you're unsure, even when your hands are shaking, even when your mind is telling you to stop. I know this because I've been there. I've felt what it's like to hit rock bottom, to hear "no" so many times that it starts sounding like the truth, to question your worth, your ability, your future. And yes, there were moments when giving up felt easier. But there was something inside me that refused to disappear. A small spark. A quiet resistance. A voice that said, "Maybe there's more." And that "maybe" changed everything. Because I realized something powerful in that moment. Life isn't about avoiding failure. It's about how you rise after it. It's not about having all the answers. It's about asking the right question. And the question that changed my life was simple. What if I actually believed in myself? Not someday. Not when things were perfect. But right now. What if, instead of doubting everything, I trusted something within me? What would I try? What would I become? Now I want you to ask yourself the same thing. Right now. What if you stopped underestimating yourself? What if you stopped waiting for permission? What if you decided that, from this moment forward, you're no longer going to play small? Who could you become? What could you build? What kind of life could you create if fear wasn't in control? Because here's something you need to understand. The world is full of people who once felt exactly like you do. They were afraid. They were uncertain. They doubted themselves. But they made one decision. They chose not to stop. They didn't wait to feel ready. They didn't wait for perfect conditions. They just started. And step by step, they built something bigger than they ever imagined. Not because they were special, but because they refused to believe they were limited. And now, it's your turn. Life is too short to live in "what if." Too short to let your potential sit unused. Every step you take, every fear you face, every action you choose despite the doubt, it all builds something. Not just results, but identity. Because the greatest victory you will ever achieve is not over the world. It's over yourself. So look inside. Challenge that voice. Question every belief that tells you you can't. And ask yourself one powerful question. What limit am I ready to break today? Because the strength you're looking for, the confidence, the courage, it's already inside you, waiting. And the moment you decide to trust it, everything begins to change. So if this message connected with you, if something inside you woke up while listening to this, take a moment and declare it. Comment below, "I believe in my potential." Or write one word that represents your strength. Because your voice might be the spark someone else needs today. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, you are capable of more than you've ever imagined. And this is just the beginning.